Hello, welcome to my channel Amazing Fashionistas. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to alter an half scale bodice block, that is from the shoulder to the waistline, to a top, which is a full bodice block. If this is your first time of joining me on this channel, welcome, and we are going to be getting it right from the scratch here. And to my old subscribers, it's so good to have you here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, comment and share this video, especially if you find it helpful. If you've not seen the video of how we got here, do well to check my previous videos. Everything is right on my page. We are getting it right from the scratch, yes, in a simplified way. So now let's complete the bodice from the shoulder to the top length. So here I'm just going to measure out the top length. For the measurement I'm using here, I'm going to be using 20 inches. So, and that is what I'll measure and rule it out. We're going to be doing same thing for the back, but this time is going to be minus the bust dart. So it's going to be minus the difference between the front half length and the back half length, yes, which is going to serve as the bust dart to match up the sides. So we're going to be ruling those lengths out. So the front half length and the back half length is not the same thing. Please note that. Next thing we are going to be doing here is to complete the dart and also take the waist dart to the hip line. Yes, for this part now we can use the hip line or the upper hip line. So wherever the top is going to get to, we can use it for these bodies, or just simply use the hip. So here I'm going to be using the hip measurement here. So I'm going to measure out the hip measurement without measuring or adding any dart allowance, please note. And then from the waist dart, we're going to connect it to the hip with a slight curve. So here I'm using the French curve to connect it. So the next thing now we're going to do is to mark out or to complete the darts. So the same thing we did at the front, we're going to do it at the back as well. So here we're going to be measuring from that point. So measure out the hip circumference or the upper hip measurement, and we'll connect it with a slight curve as well. Now to complete the dart legs, we're going to be measuring the same bust span, also known as the nipple to nipple, that we measured to achieve that middle line. We're going to be measuring it on the top length as well. We'll do the same thing for the front and the back. So here I measured the nipple to nipple here, which is 3 inches. So I'll just do the same thing on the top length. Next, I'll just simply connect the line with a straight ruler. So now I have the bust span also measured on the hip line. So the next thing to do is, we don't want the dart to get to the top length, so it will not put a strain around that part, and ideally it doesn't have to get there. So I'll just measure 1.5 inch upwards. So I'll just connect from that part to the dart we already measured. So that is going to be our dart. So basically, and now let's move on to the back. For the back now, we need to first of all complete the dart tightening, also known as the dart contouring. So the dart tightening we connected to the chest line, we're going to connect it also to the top length. Yes, slightly easing from the top length. And then the same measurements we used from the mid back to the bust bust span we used at the front. So we're going to do the same thing on the hem line of the top. Then we'll connect it the same way we did at the front, and then measure 1.5 inch, same 1.5 inch standard. For some measurements you can decide to do 2, for some you can do 1 inch. So everything works, but just depending on the kind of size you're working with. And we'll then connect it to the previous darts that ends on the waistline. I hope you understand that. So that is just how to alter an half scale bodice into a full basic block, that is a top. Yes, so now let me just do my neckline tightening at the back, which is 0.25 standard for a medium size and 0.5 inch standard on the front bodice for a medium size. You understand? This 0.5 inch actually works for anybody, actually, yes, but some very small size you might just have to do lesser than that. If you have watched this video to this point, it means you found it helpful or you enjoy my method of teaching. Let's do this together, amazing fashionistas. Please subscribe to this channel, like, comment and share, and let me know where you're watching me from so I can drop a love for you in my next video. I am sending love to Cheka Chuku from Aka, Enugu State. Yes, she commented on our last video and I'm sending my love to you. Mwah. So guys, here I'm just trying to label the lines. We have the chest line, the nipple line at the front, the waistline and the top length. And for the back, the chest line, the waistline and also the top length. Please don't forget to subscribe and I'm going to see you definitely in my next video. And do well to turn on your notification so as to get notified once I drop another video. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.